you everybody for coming, and welcome to our first AMA with the new devs and our first time using the stages functionality. So it's really an exciting opportunity for everybody to ask their questions and get them answered. I'll go alphabetically. Artie, do you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
Hey guys, I'm Marty. You guys see me around a long time. For those that don't know me, I'm the CEO of KTO. Here to just work things and make things more seamless. Who am I? Master's in technical trade, business and business management backgrounds. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I got.
And what about how you got involved with KTO? Maybe give a little bit of your background with the project.
I came over from SHIB. Cram here, believe it or not, is the one who got me into KTO. In the beginning, I was just an investor looking at the project, and I kind of moved into working for the project in ST6. From there, it was a long stride, but in between, it was a lot of fun. Definitely dove more and more into KTO because of just how amazing the project was and is. And moved into marketing, and long story short, here I am now as a developer of KTO.
Fantastic. Alrighty, so about you, Krammit? We'll keep going alphabetically.
Okay, Krammit. I've been here before launch. I started out as the Shield Team 6 lead, and brought a couple of people from inside the community up to join me in that, and with Sloth, who was also the Shield Team 6 lead, and spent a couple months there, and had the opportunity to take on a bigger role with marketing, and I think that was back in March or something, maybe in February. Anyway, became the lead of that, and just worked my way on up, and here I am as a dev, and it's quite strange how it worked out. Never really pictured that. How I came into Kounotori is kind of a funny story, and it's one of the reasons that I've always loved this project. And so I can't give names. So what I'll say is this. There was a friend of mine who heard about KTO, and he told me about it. And he was planning on buying in on launch day on December 3rd. And he had moved his ETH around, but he got hacked. And, anyone that's been through that sucks. And, what can you do? Come to find out that the developers of Kounotori actually helped him get his ETH back. And, it was something that obviously they didn't have to do, but they cared about people. And that meant a lot to me. And when you take care of people that I care about, I want to take care of you. And so that's how I got into KTO, from that story alone. And here we are, 14 months later, and going strong, and became a dev. It's funny how it all worked out, but that's my story of KTO and how I got involved with it.
That's awesome. It's a very much more exciting way of finding a project compared to a lot of people. Fair enough. And Jan?
I've been here since the start with the original developers, and now they've had to step down for the better of the project and to allow new people with more appropriate skill set for the future of the project to take over. And I've just happened to stay around and remain in the dev team and work with brand new developers now.
That's exactly it. And how did you get involved with KTO in the first place? Like, who came to you first?
Well, me and Adrian, actually, me and Martin met in a certain Discord ages ago. And then later on, Martin introduced me to Adrian and also Lee, Shitcoin Buccaneer. And after we spent time together in multiple projects, which most of those ended up being rug pulls, we ended up deciding to start our own project, which will stand against everything that we have experienced in sort of negative terms as far as crypto is concerned, which entails like rug pulls, scams, and so on. We just wanted a legit project. At first, we weren't even sure exactly what the utility was going to be. We wanted to create a staking platform, but then we soon realized that the regulations are going to catch up with crypto earlier or later, and that the staking platforms aren't really a very long-term solution. So we decided to go with the centralized route, creating a centralized exchange with a built-in centralized staking platform, which will be paying in stablecoins.
There you go. That's fantastic, and it's I think it's great for everybody to have somebody that has been here this long, remaining with the project and sort of having that experience and having that original vision available, which is great. And Mike, if you unmute, you'll be able to introduce yourself. There should be a button at the bottom. I just highlighted it for you.
I had the hardest time even getting it for some reason. I was switching from the iPad. Now I'm on my phone, just trying to.
That's all right. We can hear you, so that's all good. Oh, we could hear you. Wait, now we can. Okay, we're good. So we're just having everybody introduce themselves and sort of explain how they got into KTO.
Okay, sure. So I came in January as an investor from another project that wasn't doing so well. They weren't honest, and a few of my friends joined here, and I looked into KTO, and I love the fact that the developers were doxxed. I loved the AMAs. I just like the transparency, and I felt like if I was going to put my money someplace, I wanted those things. So that's what brought me to KTO, and I stayed here. Made friends and cared more and more about the project as time has gone on, and that's why I'm here, and that's why I, kind of accepted the role to help with the team to bring us hopefully to the next level, and that's my story.
Yeah, amazing. All right. Well, I guess maybe I should do one as well. I'm not a developer, but I am the new community manager. So for those of you who don't know me, I go by Queenie, or you may have known me as Shib Queenie. So I've been in the space or in crypto for about 2 years now. My prior experience is in a sort of community management light with Shib, and also with doing AMAs and speaking on behalf of the developers there. So I've been with Kounotori since it launched, since pre-launch actually. The old community manager, Kat, brought me in, said, hey, I'm joining a new project as the community manager. Could you and Jax come in and check out the Discord with me and, sort of just build that early rapport with people? I've been here ever since. So I'm a big fan of Kounotori. It's one of the few tokens that I hold. I don't hold many because I'm a bit of a stickler when it comes to what I determine as worth putting money into. But it is one that I have held since launch and have really, really high hopes for the future of. And yeah, that's about it from me. So what we were thinking of doing is reading from the list of questions that were raised in Q&A over the last few weeks. And then there'll be an opportunity at the end for people to come up and ask questions if we haven't addressed them. So we will kick off with that as long as you guys are ready to go.
Yeah.
Nobody's rugged themselves.
Knock on wood.
Alrighty, so who wants to answer the first question? Or rather, who wants to kick off?
I'm looking for Owl's questions right now.
Yeah, I've got them here. So the first question is, Tech Alchemy development is on hold after alpha. When it says, when proceed back, we will be collaborating with back with Tech Alchemy or another dev company. So after the hiatus, are we planning to continue on with Tech Alchemy for the development of the centralized exchange?
I can take this one. So we have maintained our connection with Tech Alchemy, and we're still keeping in touch with them. So we will be resuming the development with them, and we have also secured a really good deal for the amount of money that it will cost to finish the development of the whole centralized exchange. We've secured quite a good discount for the quick route of 6 developers. whereas previously we were only developing with 2 developers, so it was going much slower than it will go once we resume. They're on standby. Their employees are working on different projects right now, but they will be available for us, and they're keeping us in mind. So as soon as we're ready to restart the development, there will be no longer wait than 1 or 2 weeks, and it will be restarted with all the developers onboarded.
Fantastic. Could we please get more details on the current Gnosis Multisig safe wallet and the chains of approval for it?
We can just go back to the first one real quick. I just want to add
Yeah,
something.
sure.
So, it's a significant discount. I think we're at $340,000 to use the 6 developer approach. And Johan contacted them, and we're able to get the number down to 217,500. So it's a far more manageable figure. And we won't be going with the 2 developer approach. We're 100% going towards the 6 developer approach to get it done as fast as possible. So it's
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. I didn't realize it was such a significant discount. That's amazing. Good job, Jan.
so I just wanted to add that in. So good. Sorry.
Yeah. No, absolutely worth sharing. Thank you. All right. So anyone else have anything to add to that first question, or shall we move to the second? I think we're good. I think that's covered. Fantastic. So the second question, was just regarding who's going to be on the Gnosis Multisig safe wallet now, and what are the chains of approval for it?
So for the Gnosis multi-signature wallet, currently the wallets involved in the approval of transactions on there include my wallet, Mike's wallet, Artie, Krammit, and also Adrian. Adrian is on the Gnosis as well. Martin has been removed, and Kat has been removed as well. And we will be having one more person joining later on as well to sort of represent the community, and you can guess who that is.
Hello. It's not a mystery person, don't worry, guys. I'm not adding some random to the multi-sig. Unless you consider me some random, but it's I should be adding to that. So having an extra step in that. And what are the chain of approvals? Maybe just break down how multi-sig works for people who are unsure.
So the way it's set up at the moment, each transaction, so each one of us can create a transaction, but in order for the transaction to be carried out or executed, as it's written in there, we need at least 4 of the wallets to approve it. So it would need 4 of us to sign the transaction in order for it to be able to be executed, otherwise it wouldn't. The way this works is each one of us will sort of need to coordinate at least 4 of us at a similar time, because some of the transactions expire if they're not if they don't gather the required number of signatures on time. So in terms of coordination, it's a bit awkward, but at the end of the day, this is the price we pay for security. None of us can move any of the funds on there alone. It will always require at least 4 of us to approve each transaction.
Beautiful. Awesome. So if we're all good there, we can move on to the next one, which is Al says, I'm a true believer that the new devs have connections and skill sets to make this project a success, but if there are some unavoidable circumstances, will the new devs be able to do what the previous devs do and get us into a position for a more capable person that's able to continue the project and make KTO a success? So
Definitely jump this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Sorry, Quinn.
No.
I believe what you're asking is whether or not we would have somebody to continue our position had one of the developers or few of the developers end up, having a life situation that would otherwise make us incapable of doing our jobs. And the answer to that is yes. At the same time, no. Do we have those people right now? Well, no. It's only been 2 weeks. I'm more than confident in saying that is a focus we should have at the forefront of our thoughts is, if something does happen to us, who or what can we do to make sure KTO success is continued? That is a great question. I really appreciate somebody brought that up because it's been something, I'm sure a lot of people think about without even speaking it out loud. So my answer to that question for me is definitely a yes. There will always be, that thought of who I would think or what I would think could be changed in the event something were to happen to us. So yeah.
Yeah. To go a step further, as far as if we got to a point where we felt like our skill set wasn't enough to get us to the next level, whoever it may be, then I would certainly step aside for someone else to be able to bring us there.
Absolutely.
It's all about just getting the exchange built, getting us to where we need to be, growing. And if it ever came to the point where any of us weren't the right person for that, then I think we would all be willing to step aside for that person. So
Just to add one more final comment to it is that you guys know us. We've always looked at the community as the pillar to this. Without you, there wouldn't be an us. So I got, it's safe to say that we could assure you that, we're always going to be looking for what is best for the community going forward.
Yeah, this isn't about pride. It's for the success of the project.
Yes.
Fantastic. So the next question is, Al
Johan's
wanted to
like,
know. Oh. Yeah, Johan's not going anywhere. He's part of the furniture at this point. Johan doesn't count.
Yeah.
He will be here until the end times. So the next question is to do with the staking. So let me just pull that one. Sorry, I've just lost it. There we go. Al just wanted to know about our staking return. I don't know much, but I know that not many offer a high return in stablecoins. Plus with all NFTs peak, has all of this been calculated, and is it really possible in terms of KTO centralized exchange sustainability?
So I could definitely jump in here. When it comes to the staking rewards, there has been a lot of questions, and I know a lot of people were very scared when the light of Kraken came out, and after doing much more research into it, there actually wasn't much to be afraid of at all. To this point, nothing has changed. Our definite goal is definitely to give up to 20%, but in accordance to regulations, right? We are promising that right now nothing has changed, but we need to make sure that we are always staying ahead of regulations, ahead of the law, and that we abide by those for the future, just for the sake of things running smoothly, and that the project and the community itself, its investors, don't get shut down or hurt in any way.
That's yeah, and I think that's a really important thing. Is as long as we remain true to at the core tenets of KTO, which is the honesty, the openness, security. If there are going to be changes, they will be communicated. If they're going to impact you guys, we will make sure it's as in a minimal way as possible. So,
I mean,
that's fair to say.
it opened eyes up and it made us look into it. Kraken itself is still doing staking just outside of the U.S., so they just made a mistake to pay for them. They were selling they didn't follow the regulations. They were selling unregistered securities, and they got it caught up to them, and so they're forced to not be able to allow staking in the U.S. It's a part of an agreement with the SEC. So our idea is to never get to that point where we're out of compliance. So.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's important to learn from the mistakes of what will eventually be our peers, and making sure that we get make sure that everything is running as it should be and following all the rules as they arrive. Because because we know things are changing, and it's as more regulations are put in place and different countries have different rules, it'll be something that we just need to remain agile and navigate through.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Question number 5.
I think Mike is trying to talk, but he's cutting
sorry.
in.
No, that's okay.
I was just saying, as far as like, you should want to take your tokens with regulations, right? You can't. It's there was some ridiculous percentages that have been offered that we've seen, and it's essentially what they're trying to say is that you need to prove that you can give these percentages out. That's what what regulations are for. So I usually feel more comfortable, more confident in actually staking with regulations than just staking it and hoping you get your 20% or whatever it may be. Regulations are actually a good thing, in my opinion, my eyes.
Yeah, the wild west is a very unsecure place to be, and I absolutely agree with that fully. That we're definitely not afraid of regulations. If anything, we are more than accepting towards it. And yeah, I mean, like I said, like Mike just said, your security and your safety is the most important thing to us.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's one of the most off-putting things for new people as well. If you want new growth and you want new people coming to crypto, it needs to be user-friendly and it needs to be risk-free or as close to risk-free as possible, at least for the actual investing aspect of it. It's risky enough deciding what to invest in. The least we can do is provide a safe way to do it. So yeah, so we'll move on to the next one. So the next question, also from Al, is, as I remember, KTO is registered in the UK, but I noticed that, I think you meant one day someone told us it was US based. I may have wrongly read. Is there going to be any changes for this?
Lots and lots of changes. Actually, Mike, do you want to take this one?
Sure. So we've kind of gone back and forth. And what we've come up with is the original plan, which makes the most sense. And it's to bring it to the United States, set up a C Corp in Delaware. It's that's for tax reasons. It's what most people do, most companies. So I think it's best for the United States. It's best for retail investment, institutional investing. It's best for the future. It's really, it holds a certain level of security being here in the United States. I'm from here, so I know I feel comfortable in the United States, and not that there aren't other countries and other places to do business. I just really like what there is to offer here. We're from here, and that's the plan: is to bring it to the United States. We thought about living in the UK. I know there's some regulations going there too, where you can only hold $10,000 to $20,000 of digital assets. It just seems like the original plan is the best plan, and so the answer is we're going to move it to the United States.
Yeah. I mean, we've definitely done our research up to this point. Clearly, there's still tons to do. You use the word legal, and it just adds timelines. It's nothing you can get around, but you don't want to, right? You want to be about as legal as you possibly can, because again, it protects you, it protects us, and it just makes the process forward much easier to do. Mike, you said that, I believe, so US based, we're going to open up a C Corp in Delaware is what we're deciding?
Yes.
Okay.
It's easier because this isn't about getting $217,500 and completing the exchange, right? This is about actually running the exchange, which will take multiple rounds of funding. It's going to take a lot of money, millions of dollars, and it's easier to obtain that money in a place like Delaware, where investors know the law. It's just it has a track record of being able to find your VC investment from there. It's just these are things that I didn't know until I asked the questions, right? Until I spoke to people, to attorneys, to different investment firms, and it's the right place to go. So we have to think past. We have to think past just building the exchange. I said that from the beginning. It's not just about building it. and having it, and then what do? You say, yay, we have an exchange, and then what? How do you actually, how do you make it run? And that takes money. And if you look at if you look at the history of how other exchanges have come from nothing to what they are today, and it takes multiple rounds of funding, and it takes investment. So we have to stay ahead of that and have that be on our radar. We can't forget about it. It's not just about finishing things off with Tech Alchemy. It's far past that. So
Exactly. I couldn't have put it better myself. Okay. Did any of you guys have any further comments to that? Going once, going twice, moving on. Next question.
So,
Or do you Krammit?
I'm still good.
You're good. Okay. It says, so question 6 is, as the Kounotori exchange will create its own platform stablecoin, do proof of the company's reserves, or I think it should be, will proof of the company's reserves be observable by investors to ensure this value is legit?
the
the
answer is yes.
Yes.
answer, right? We talked about this yesterday, right? And yeah, the answer is 100% yes. And do you want to say how, Johan? How we?
Yep. So ever since the recent events in the centralized exchange sort of area have happened, there has been a big push for centralized exchanges to undergo a proof of reserves check to sort of demonstrate that they do hold the assets that they claim that they hold. However, some of these exchanges just undergo the check and then they don't actually share the live wallets where they keep the currency, so there's no way to check if the money is still there like one day after the proof of reserves check has been done. So we're going to have all our wallets that hold our assets listed, so people will always be able to cross-check the amount of assets that we currently have deposited and the amount of assets that we currently hold. And there will always be the opportunity to observe that we always hold at least 1-to-1 with the deposited assets and the assets that we own on the exchange. Transparency is really important. We want to make it as easy as possible for users to be able to observe the assets that we hold.
This
Yeah,
came up talking about so what would separate us from other exchanges, right? What would make people want to use, KTO's exchange? And that's how this topic came up. What could we do differently to make people feel more confident, given what's been happening with sexes, right? So that's what we came up with, and I think it's one of the things we'll do, and it's a great idea. And so thank you for explaining
Yeah.
that.
People have been out there asking for it, and so if no one else wants to do it, we'll do it.
That's only
Well
one way of
said.
putting it.
Well said.
Alrighty, so the next question, if I can click things correctly. The next question is, are there any changes on or to the Nest Council?
So the Nest Council hasn't officially been made yet, but we're going to bring in people who can make us help us make the right decisions. As of now, there isn't really any set requirements, but that's something we'll take a look at closer to the release of the exchange. And that's something that we added to our flight path, where I believe it was in, was it stage 3? Oh, anyway, where it is now is stage 4. So once we're done completing stage 3, that's when we'll dive into that.
Okay.
Yeah, to add a little bit to it, and Kram is right in saying there is no stipulations to what the Nest Council will entitle. It won't be geared around just money. It will be geared around education. It'll be geared around a lot of things that really make the right individual part of the Nest Council, because that's what you guys deserve. And that should be the case. If we don't just want anyone up there talking or making decisions behind the scenes about the project, because it needs to be done right. It needs to be done well. because at the end of the day, it's all about the community. So
It's also necessary. You can't offer shares and look for this VC investment without a board of directors, and our board is going to be the next council. So it's something that will happen faster than you think, but it shouldn't be made up of members of our community and also professionals that can help advise us in certain areas. So it'll be a diverse group, let's say. So.
And I think if I just chime in here, it's that, that really critical blend of this sort of decentralized, centralized model that we've got going, where we want power to be in the hands of the community and we want decision making to be in the hands of the community. So drawing on DAO elements and communal decision making and think tanking to run the centralized exchange. So it isn't just this one entity, as we're also used to, taking the profits and taking all the benefit from the platform itself.
well said. Definitely well said.
Alrighty, so I think we're up to question 8. Besides Kounotori's tax, is there any other plan to increase Kounotori's project income to pay for the centralized exchange development, plus to continue the Kounotori roadmap? It can be yes or no only, there's no need for details. That's Al's instruction, that's not from me. That's what he said in the question, just so you know.
My mic kind of broke out a little bit. I couldn't hear anything.
I didn't say anything.
Okay.
My head there, just I was
That's
muted.
right. I can repeat it. So basically, Al was just saying it can be yes or no. He just wants to know whether or not, beside the inbuilt tax on the token, are there any plans to increase project income to pay for the centralized exchange development / continuing the roadmap?
No, 100%. Yes. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Well, he said no need for details, so I guess we can, if we want to keep the source of funding mysterious, we can, or?
It's obvious. There's angel investment, there's VC investment, there's shares, there's multiple ways of raising money beyond just the volume and the tax on the token. The idea eventually is to, and Adrian said this all along, and Martin and everyone that eventually the tax will go away. And the question is, when will that be? When will that happen? And the answer is, at the right time. We're not going to have a centralized exchange and have taxes. So eventually, right, the tax won't be there. So there'll be need for, even if there was volume through the roof, if there was no tax, there would be no money, right? So there's other ways.
Yeah, perfect. Do we have any plans for a global platform? It just says any global platform plans.
Yeah. I mean, that would be. I mean, that's much further in the future. But the idea of bringing KTO to everyone would always be the goal. In my eyes.
It's like it's doing one thing perfect first. We don't want to. So I think you'll see that. Listen, it's worldwide anyway. So it's really if there are areas that we're not reaching, and we've perfected the exchange and things are going how they should, then of course we'll look to to expand. And just like, for example, Binance has Binance US. That's they have a separate place where Binance is doing business. So it's I think everyone does that. So that's something we would do, but it's not. We're not planning that. There are no plans for that. It's one thing first. So
Wonderful. Okay, so then the final question from Al is, do we have any plan for any partnerships? I'm not sure what context that's in, but do we have any partnership plans?
Well, I think from an exchange point of view, we want to have a partnership with all the projects out there. We want to be the place that they go to for all their crypto needs. We want to be the first place they think of with staking, and we want to be the first place they think of when they find a project that they like. And it ties into the Nest Council as well, because we got to make sure that those projects are vetted. So we're going to have a ton of partnership. And some of them we've been in contact already, but until things are finalized, it's best to wait for that to be finalized, because we don't want to put them or ourselves in a position that could hurt them or ourselves later. So yes, there's going to be a ton of partnerships.
Fantastic. Alrighty. Nappers, I have just seen your question. I'll add it to the list. I've got a list of ones that are being raised in the chat as well. I'll go back, but I'm just reading through the Q&A channel first. So we've read those 10 questions from Al. He did have another one a couple of days after. He just wanted to know if our exchange is based on order books or LP. So from Alpha, it feels more like LP, which is directly buying from a current price, no order list. But for this, you need an LP provider. Is it going to be order book based, where someone needs to sell for us to buy and someone needs to buy for us to sell, or will it have that direct buying and selling from a pool?
It will be an order book based system. I think it will be available. The order book sort of system will be available for testing on the beta or the second version of the beta. I'm not exactly sure which one it will be, but I'm pretty sure it will be on the first beta. That's going to be one of the most sort of taxing parts of the development, to get a properly working trading engine and order book system as well. But yeah, to answer the question, it will be order book based.
Okay, amazing. Alrighty, so the next question I think is one that we sort of already tackled, but I'll read it out as well. So Lee wanted to know if we have updated figures for staking returns. So given the crackdown on staking and the fact that multiple centralized exchanges have drastically reduced their interest over the last year, is 20% still a viable number? And following on from this, will there be a limit on the amount you can stake?
Yeah, we kind of addressed that one in Owl's questions again. As of right now, nothing has changed. Just to go over it again, our goal is to keep ahead of the regulations and make sure we're abiding by what makes sense in their eyes, so that it makes more sense when we talk about staking returns in the future. But as of right now, nothing has changed. It's still up to 20%.
Will be a limit. You don't want coming in and buying $10 million of KTO and expecting us to give them $2 million. It's there has to be limits. It's the people's token, right? It's kind of the average person's ability to earn passive income, and we don't want to make the wealthiest of us more wealthy, for lack of a better term. It's there will
Certainly
be
not at the expense of the others.
We don't want someone like rushing in and buying a whole bunch of KTO and staking it, and then taking all the money and having it be impossible for us to do to help everybody out. So there will be limits, but those limits will be relatively high. You'll be able to make quite a bit of money from staking. It's just like it's been an anti-whale project in the very beginning. It's going to continue into the staking process as well. It's just it's not fair to allow someone to do that. So.
I just want to quickly mention that currently the centralized exchanges that do offer staking services, and some other centralized staking platforms as well, they all employ limits on the amount. If they don't limit the actual amount that you can stake, then they just reduce the rate. So if you want to stake something, so for example, 100,000 at 5%, you might be able to do it, but any amount over 100,000, it might automatically drop your percentage APY to like 2% or 1.5%. So most of them have a scaling system with diminishing returns.
Okay. Awesome. The next question is also from Lee again, which is one that we touched on, so I can just recap that, which is he asked if we would be revising the tokenomics to entice investors that might be put off by the 10% tax. Would we be better off with a lower tax to generate more volume? I know, Mike, you mentioned eventually there will come a time where the tax just won't be necessary at all, because it will be detrimental to the centralized exchange itself, if I understand correctly. So I think that's something that's definitely already being considered, that the tax isn't always going to be there. But there's also been discussions of, Mike, if you wanted to, whether or not we wanted to touch on the old model of the zero tax days and how that's going to look going forward.
I think we'll have reduced tax days. I think everyone understands the importance right now of the tax. So we don't feel like it's really, listen, there's tokens out there with a 15% tax that, doing $1 million a day, right? So I don't think it's stopping anyone necessarily from investing in KTO. If you want to invest in KTO and you look into it, you see what we're building, then you'll invest in it. And I don't think the tax will get in the way of that. Ideally, you would have zero tax. It's just right now is not the right time for that, as we're trying to get things done, grow, and it's just so it's not going to happen now. There will be days, there'll be events, just like there were before, where we reduced the tax. And but I don't want to lie to anyone and say that we're a few weeks away from taking away the tax. That's just not going to happen. It's a smart thing to do. It's not going to help anyone who's already invested. It just isn't. It's not the time for it. So
Awesome. Thank you. Alrighty, so I'll keep reading. There was an emoji spam, so I'll just scroll down until I find the next question. Let me see. So KTO Hope wanted to know if the legal transfer of the company to the new dev team has actually been completed yet. Which
we have not completed it yet. We're looking into. We have an attorney that we're in contact with, and who has UK affiliates, and it's really about how do we do it? Is it this is all going to be from getting legal advice. Is the company dissolved? Then we take it. Do we set the C corp up and buy it? How do we do it? What's the best way to go about it? So when it happens, it'll happen fast. And when the share whole aspect of the shares and having them in the United States, things are done very fast here. It's a matter of a week, and the shares are available, instead of waiting for HMRC. So when we figure it all out and we figure the right way to do it, it'll happen very fast. It has not been completed yet. We're still going through the process of having these discussions and figuring out the best way to do it. So,
okay. Well, that sort of answers the third question, which is if there's any updates from HMRC about shares.
If you let me keep talking, I'll probably answer them all. I just ramble, so.
No, that's fine. It's good. It's efficient answering. So the second question is, when will the pitch deck for fundraising happen?
And so the answer to that is I would love to not use that for because the amount changed. I think there's a way we can come up with the money without using a pitch deck to get TA paid and get those developers back working on the exchange. The pitch deck will happen when it's time for operating expenses to run the exchange.
Okay. So that one's just on the back burner just a little bit for now?
I think just, and we'll know soon enough. We'll know soon enough whether or not it's necessary, and whether it's necessary to offer shares and go that route. I actually don't want to do that. That's not. I don't think it's the best way. I think they are valuable and will be valuable when it comes time to really need the money. Whereas this is
a lot of those questions are definitely something that's we have down and that we are finding the answers to. It's just the legal consultations that we're going through right now in the law firms that we're working with is going to make it easier for us to answer most of those questions. So if it seems like we don't have the answer, that's not necessarily the truth. It's just more of we need to make sure we're not lying to you when we're answering those questions.
It needs to be a definitive answer so people can make decisions based on it.
Exactly.
So there's the fourth question was whether or not there's a timeline for resuming the SEX development and new roadmap. Does that hinge on? So this is just a little addendum from me. Does that hinge on the funding and or the transfer of the company, or are we just going right ahead as soon as we can?
It definitely does. Yeah. So I mean, we need to transfer the company first and then get the funding. So that's step one, then step two, and then to give a definitive timeline. I hate to do that and be held to that. I've in my head as to when that would be, and it's not far away. So I hate to. It's almost like an update for, like, you'll see that update coming soon.
Yeah.
We're weeks in, and we haven't even transferred the company yet, and we're working on so many things simultaneously that it's hard to say. It's hard to give you an exact time frame. What I will. It's not going to be a long time. If that makes anyone feel better, it's going to be as
Within
fast.
months?
So yeah.
Yeah. Would you say within months?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's all good. I mean, yeah, it's to be expected. It's one of those things that's quite difficult because, as you said, we're seeking legal advice on the actual transfer itself. So hard to put a timeline on something that we don't know the exact solution for yet.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. It's not many months either. It could be. I hate to even say this, but it could be 2 months away, 3 months away. It's not going to be. Looking at 6 to 8 months away. If that's if that makes sense.
Good.
And what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Just a random comment. As doing this for the first time, I gotta say, somebody should have warned me about not staring at the chat while you're doing it because it is super distracting.
I'm trying to moderate both. Host the chat and read the chat and also read the questions.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so the final question from KTO Hope was number 5. What are our strategies for increasing volumes, new holders, and token price? And he said, thanks.
Yeah,
That's your,
well,
you're here for.
yeah,
I'm here for that.
yeah. Well, I see all those as the same thing, and how we do that is by getting the name out there. Friday we had that Twitter space with Queenie, kind of an introduction. We've got the Deca Mega Space coming up on the 23rd. I know Mike, you and Artie have been talking about going to that conference in March. But the point is that we need to get out of the box that we're in and just get our name out there. And as soon as we start doing that, and as soon as we are into those groups and being part of the conversations, those 3 things will handle themselves.
Yes.
Couldn't have put it better myself. That's exactly what it is. It's just a breaking out of this bubble that we're currently in, because what we have is a really strong, really dedicated community, but we seem to be stuck in almost like a feedback loop where everyone interacting with each other are people who already hold KTO. So just breaking through that sort of bubble and getting the word out there. And it's difficult, you want to be posting as much as possible, but then because that's so common on Twitter, for people to just go, oh, that's a scam because there's 50 comments and we look like bots. So it's finding that fine line between quality posting and quantity. So it's something that, I definitely want to work with some of the contacts and connections that I have to get KTO up and running a bit more in sort of a wider space and, sending the word out there. Me personally, just because we were talking about strategies, I am looking to leverage the amazing NFTs that we have and the fact that we're one of the few projects out there that have NFTs with utility. I think they've gone long neglected, and there's a very untapped market that KTO can break into of NFTs and appealing to the many, many, many people in the NFT space. So definitely a sort of a stay tuned situation while we get everything fine tuned and tweaked, but certainly focusing on that growth element. Alrighty, let's see. I think Nappa's wanted to know, have we considered utilizing NFTs to act as our KYC verification, i.e. unstoppable domains, ENS, etc.? Which
So that is something that we're considering, but sort of as an update on later on. So initially when we launch the centralized exchange, it's going to be sort of more traditional and with basic functionalities, but of course we're going to always be looking to add on to that and improve it and give more options to our users to make them feel more comfortable. So and over time these services with NFT KYC and so on are going to become more and more popular as well, and easier to integrate and more widely available. So we'll definitely be looking to incorporate such services over time. And
And it's just one of those things as well. You do need to consider the security element. If your wallet gets breached, someone has the ability to then trade in your name because they have possession of your NFT. So
Yeah.
it's something that we need to seriously consider. And if we do offer it as a solution or as an option to people who want a little bit more anonymity, well, we need to consider what risk we're willing to take on and what risk needs to be on the actual party themselves. Okay, I think I've gotten to the end of the list there. So I just have a couple that I've pulled from chat, and then we'll open the floor for people who want to ask questions that they've thought of. So the first one, we did have, sorry, I didn't put names to these. I definitely should have. I think it was Future Stalk who asked this, but I could be wrong. Wouldn't bringing corporate office to US affect global staking ability if the SEC staking fears come to pass instead of just affecting US investors?
I'm sorry, say it again. What was it?
So he just wanted to know if bringing the corporate office to the US would affect global staking ability if SEC staking fears come to pass, rather than just affecting US investors.
So that was a question about, essentially, will staking still be available in the United States? That's essentially the question. Right?
Well, more so just whether or not moving the corporate office, so moving the company to the US, does that mean that regulation passed by the SEC, will that then affect global holders or still only US investors?
Well, yeah, it would affect global holders.
Yeah.
Because you'd be using an exchange that's based in the United States. So.
Okay. And is that something that we are concerned about, or do we feel that we'll be able to navigate that?
I mean, I'm not really concerned about it as right now Coinbase is US based. They're still doing staking. Kraken was punished, and they agreed to not allow staking in the United States. They're actually doing it out of the United States still. So Kraken still offers staking. It's just not in the US. If those things happen, that's when we move to we find a way around that, and we do move. Not move, but we add a subsidiary. So
Yeah. Okay.
I
And
believe.
also,
Sorry, Queenie.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I believe, and I don't want to make this a promise, but after our exchange is built, and even though our headquarters is US based, that's not saying that we can't. And am I wrong in saying that we can't create UK versions and incorporate in multiple areas to be able to provide the same type of service in a multi-area platform?
I think you're absolutely correct, because if you look at most of the worldwide functioning exchanges, they have separate entities in different countries, and the separate entities sort of work according to different regulations. For example, how there is Binance, and then there is Binance US, which is a separate entity, but it's still sort of the same thing, just abiding by different regulations.
Yes, and I know that as this is being built, and I'm sure I can say it would definitely be a direction we would take once we, as Mike said, once we perfect the first one. It from there it shouldn't be hard to move into multiple areas. So yeah, I mean I think that's a solid question for Tech Alchemy, and definitely something we should reach out to them about in answering that question more in depth for future.
Alrighty. The next question, this one was from Lee. Will we be maintaining the original plan to list new projects using a percentage of supply in their own native token, or will we move to more traditional means?
Our original aim was predominantly to offer an affordable listing fee to small cap legit tokens, which we have vetted in advance of the listing. And originally, we were considering doing it with their native currency, but at the same time, there's issues surrounding that, both in terms of security to us, as in our payments value changing, and also the token that is listing on our exchange, because they're sort of sacrificing a percentage of their supply and giving it away. So they're losing a control of a portion of their supply, and that could be seen as sort of undesirable. So we will most likely be moving on to mostly stablecoin payments and such for the listing fees, but we will still have much lower listing fees than most of the competitors, because that's been our main focus ever since we started. We want to be able to offer affordable listing fees, because some of the centralized exchanges charge ridiculous fees.
Yeah, we've been there. Alrighty. The next question is KTO going to build its own stablecoin or adopt one, for example, USDC?
We will be using pre-existing stablecoins, not necessarily a particular one. This has been something we've spoken about in the past as well. There will most likely be an option for people to pick which stablecoin they want to receive their staking rewards in. So one of the big ones, either BUSD or USDC or USDT or another big stablecoin.
Mhm.
We do have some intentions of launching our own stablecoin eventually, which will be fully transparent and backed one-to-one with cash, as stablecoins sort of should be, because that's one of the main issues with stablecoins at the moment, is that their reserves are very non-transparent and they don't keep the money one-to-one. The concept of stablecoins is realistically really simple. Someone gives you $1 and then you print one digital stablecoin. And then you keep this dollar for whenever they want the dollar back. They give you the digital stablecoin and give them the dollar back. However, many of the stablecoins don't work like that. They take that dollar after they give you the stablecoin and they do something with it, which is obviously an issue in terms of liquidity if a lot of people start cashing out at the same time.
Yes.
But that's going to be down the line once the centralized exchange is launched.
All right. And then we have another question. This one came from Priamus, which was, will the exchange allow corporate accounts or just personal? And do we already have a credit card / debit card partner? It's becoming easier, so just curious.
So as far as corporate accounts are concerned, obviously the accounts of the tokens that are listing, they're going to have to manage their own market making and order books. So their accounts are going to be essentially corporate accounts, and they'll have different fees. And obviously, in order to be able to set up the order books and the quote-unquote liquidity for their pairs on our exchange. What was the second part of the question? Sorry.
It's okay. The second part was, do we already have a credit card / debit card partner?
I think we've reached out to a few. They can't quite recall the exact name of the one that we have currently decided to use. I'm pretty sure if you go to other credit card on the centralized exchange Alpha, you can see the provider, but I'm not entirely sure. It has been discussed with Tech Alchemy.
Excellent. Alrighty. Well, I think that's the extent of the questions I have in the notepad, but anyone who has any more, feel free to pop them in chat. I can see Alex Synergy just asked, will all staking rewards be paid in stablecoins or only for staked KTO?
Was it what?
Sorry, so Alex Synergy just asked if all staking rewards will be paid in stablecoins or if it will be for staked KTO.
I think all of them are going to be paid in stablecoins because at the end of the day, it doesn't really make a difference. The thing about staking KTO is going to be that it will offer higher APY than staking other tokens. That's the main appeal.
And as well, it means you're not dumping KTO every time you want to cash it in. At the end of the day, people still need to be able to convert it into fiat. We don't run on a crypto society yet. So sorry, I lost my voice for a moment there. We did just have another question as well. Can KTO register as a security with the SEC? Is coming from Affectless Creature.
I mean, this comes down to the regulations again, and it depends on like what exactly they're going to classify as securities and non-securities, essentially, because at the moment everything is really vague, but after the recent events it does seem like the SEC are going after many crypto projects, and I think they hired a massive amount of extra employees as well, so they're definitely cracking down on crypto. And we can register, yes, but for the time being I don't think that's necessary, and it all depends on the regulations and what they end up saying. And even if the regulations come out saying that most altcoins are going to be classified as securities, there will probably be ways to sort of circumvent that, because we are capable of renouncing our contract, we are capable of disabling all tax, and at that point, essentially, nobody really has control over the security, which doesn't really fit the definition of a security. But again, it depends on the exact regulatory clarity that's going to be given.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Lee wanted to know, will the beta still be closed or will it be open like the alpha? And in which case, what will the Golden Ticket NFT do?
So it's funny with the beta, it's kind of was done differently where you would have a closed alpha and an open beta. But I think we're going to take a look at that for the beta and open it up to more people, because a lot's changed since, deciding on who will have access to the beta. So we would like to open that up to more people. If that's with the golden tickets, yeah, that can play a part, the Nintais, stuff like that. So, and we'll probably come up with something in the future that also gains access to that as well.
Could even be early access potentially to the beta. But yeah, definitely something that still needs to be decided. That is one of the unfortunate things when when things change, you have one vision in mind, and you can't always necessarily stick to it. So I think we'll do our best to do our best by everybody when it comes to the beta. We had another question from Nappers, which was, what's the point of the token after the centralized exchange? What's the value of a finished product to the token and the use case of the token?
Well, I think when people want to stake the token, they have to buy the token. So that itself would drive the price up because people are buying and then not selling because they're staking it. So the value of holding the token, even if you didn't stake it, would your value would increase based upon the buys of new people who want to stake and get passive income. So
yeah, and I think there's also the potential for, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a developer, but there's also the potential for incentives similar to what they do with Crypto.com, where when we have our own cards, there could be some sort of benefit to fees or a lack thereof of fees if you hold a certain amount of KTO or something similar. So there are ways to incentivize the continued purchase and holding of KTO.
Yeah, I mean, and implementing burn features and such, after the centralized exchange is built is definitely something we're looking into. We have a few ideas on the table even now.
Fantastic. So will Nintais still give you early access for the beta, is what Dan Mingo wanted to know. I would like for it to. I think, as Krammit just said, we're still sort of considering things, but I firmly believe that our NFTs are extremely undervalued and very under advertised. So as many benefits as we can give for them would be the best, even if it is, we open the beta to lots of people, but Nintai holders get it 3 days early or something like that. However that pans out will be the case, but the most important thing will be those utility elements on the exchange once they've actually launched.
yeah, I mean, we're really making every effort to fulfill all the promises that were made before we came, and they're all reasonable, and that was one of them, right? So they should receive early access if you were one of the first holders and you didn't sell, whatever the criteria exactly was, then that's it.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that's the extent of the questions. If anybody would like to ask them via voice, you can request to speak, and I'm happy to bring people up. If there are no further questions, then we'll get into just some closing statements, I think. Yes, we
Go.
can make a Jito emoji, okay? Would it be possible to become a shareholder in the future again? How do you mean, Sykes? Do you mean will there be opportunities to purchase shares again? Yes. Okay, yeah. Is that something that we will afford to the community?
Definitely. It's we wouldn't just offer them to a large investor. It would definitely be something the community could also purchase to be more a part of the exchange going forward. To have not a token holder, but also be your part owner of the exchange. So that's something I definitely would like to do that. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's something that we'll have clearer answers on once we know the proper structure of the company once it's been transferred. So we'll be able to give clearer answers on that. All right. So any closing statements from you guys? I think we had a couple of things we just wanted to bring up on sort of the state of play and going forward.
Well, somebody that I want to bring up is our marketing manager, Panda. Panda, if you're here, if we can bring him up, he's got something that he would like to do.
Just approve the invite, so you should be able to come up now, Panda.
Hey, buddy.
Hello. That's exciting. Amazing. And so how long will that run for? For the week. Amazing. And so it'll be a mailing list containing newsletters going forward? Wow, that's really generous. I wasn't expecting so many to be given away. That's really awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Panda. If there's anything else from marketing that you wanted to share, or is all good. Oh, sorry. Oh, got my morning voice on. I think Miggy just wanted to know where they can sign up, so if we can share that link. But I think that'll be once it goes live, correct? Yeah. Okay, perfect. We'll get that going on Twitter and all socials, so that's really, really good. Thank you, Panda. No worries. I think there was also just a small update from me on behalf of Jax, because he's, blissfully asleep right now. Would love to be him right now. There have been some changes in Discord, as I'm sure a lot of you have noticed. We're doing a lot to make the Discord a lot more beginner and user-friendly. It's can be overwhelming going into an established community and there's a million channels and you have no idea what's going on. So one of those things that we did was implement new roles. So everybody has the ability to go to roles and basically pick and choose what channels they want to be able to see. If you're not somebody who cares about seeing pictures of what people are eating, you're not going to opt into Om Nom Nom. If you don't care about people's computer builds or anything like that, you're not going to opt into Sexy Silicon. There are a lot of community extras that we have that they just take up space basically for the people who aren't interested in them. If you don't speak the languages, you don't need to have access to the international channels. So we just wanted to do that to make things a little bit more user friendly. There are still some roles that are being configured and being rolled out, pun not intended. One of which I think we wanted to be able to reward people who hold the NFTs as we originally instructed. So for example, Nintai holders to have their own room similar to how the Chad Stalks do, and have their own role, denoting what they hold / denoting that they are an Nintai holder. So sort of just to watch this space. There are still a lot of changes happening. Bear with us. It's not easy to do it and make it appealing to everyone. And it can be a bit confusing, but if you're ever stuck, just feel free to ping me or Jax or one of the moderators and we'll be able to help you out. And I guess the most important thing, which I almost forgot, is that a lot of what we're doing is to eventually become partnered with Discord. So, it's a big improvement on just sort of the official nature of our community, and also just basically just gives us a little bit more to play with, a little bit more sort of guidance and wiggle room for features. When eventually KTO sort of blows up even more, we really want to make sure that we have all the tools in place to facilitate the onslaught of people. It's great right now. We've only sub 2,000 people. It's manageable, but as things get bigger and as the Discord grows, we really need the tools that the partnership can provide just to assist with that. And it also makes Discord a lot more responsive to you. There is wiggle room to sort of ask for increased traffic for spaces within sort of stages within Discord and things like that. So that's basically the update with the Discord. So there's going to be some changes. There already have been some changes, but it's all for the better, I promise. Oh, sorry, had to clear my voice. Really lost it.
I wanted to give a quick shout out to Lee. We were talking about those credit cards earlier, and what he created. I have it as my profile picture. It's the coolest. It's the design on that credit card is my favorite thing in the world. I love those colors, so I just want to give him a shout out. I know I've told him it before, but I still love it. It's awesome. I want one.
I dyed my hair Lee's gradient.
Yeah, it's a
as you can see.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. No, thank you very much to the developers before us. You guys have really laid the foundation, and I've said it a few times, but perhaps not directly. Like it takes a lot for someone to admit when they can't continue doing something, and I think it's a testament to exactly what you guys started this project as, which was that openness, that honesty, that transparency with the community of saying, hey, we can't do this anymore, but we will make sure there are people who can. And I really, really want to say thank you guys for that. Right on time with Lee's message. Fantastic. Also, Crypto J just said, I know I'm late, but what separates KTO from the other community coins? So if everyone wants to say a little bit on what they think separates it, I think that would be a good note to end it on.
I think for me, and I don't know how many projects out there do this, but we've always looked internally for the way we run the project. We've, like myself, starting out as Shield Team 6, then working up to the marketing team, and then a developer. And we're always trying to look inside and trying to find community members who fit a certain role and to put them in a light that will really help us. And that's something that I always want to look towards, is the inside, the people that we have here. And like I said, I don't know of any other project that does that. And to me, that's important.
For me, coming into KTO, I would have to honestly say the one thing that always sparked so much attention with me and KTO is the people that we collectively gathered here. They were talented, like-minded, yet diverse individuals, and it kept growing and growing. And the people you would meet here really just it was different. It was different than what you were used to in a lot of different, I won't even say communities, but just random discords or other projects you would be involved in. And this one was just so closely, I don't know, maybe I'm losing the words here, but it definitely revolved around the individuals that really stemmed to come here. So I kind of forgot the question. What was the question again, Queen?
What sets us apart from other community tokens?
I would say it's definitely the people. The people set us apart from a lot of a lot of what you see there, even when things are rough and they're not necessarily going our way, this community has always stood together. Whether it would be in spurts all at once or just in general together. It made me fall in love with KTO, and I'm sure when people get to know who we are, not just what we are, they will too.
Mm. And I think even from that's all feel good and amazing and very much true. But for the people who are just like, cool, that's nice, but what about the technical side? I think Kounotori is quite unique. I felt this when I helped with the white paper. I still feel this to this day. There are a lot of tools that have been put in place that are built for the community. It's not something that was just built to siphon money from you while it pumps and dumps. It's something that has been carefully cultivated to assist with the longevity of the token. We have anti-whale mechanics, we have the sliding tax scale so that we are able to limit tax for people so that we can promote growth. It's got reflections, it's got an inherent burn, it's got things that people are constantly asking for that other tokens don't provide. And beyond that, it has utility. We are providing a product, we're building a centralized exchange. We have NFTs that have utility. So, where we provide something, we make sure it actually has a benefit. It's not something that we just want you to spend money on. It's something that, will actually have return for you. And everyone's just doing spinning gifs. I love it. I see Krammit just trying not to laugh, and I was like, I don't think that's directed at me.
Trying to hold it together right now.
But
I mean,
yeah.
Piggybacking off, but what Artie said, it's the people, and it's hard to follow Artie and Queenie because you pretty much said all of it right back to back. And then Cram's story about being here from the beginning and taking on multiple roles, and it's the people, and I think ultimately it's because of the people we've been able to survive in a bear market, right? We've been resilient because of the community. The original devs brought us alpha, and I think that would have been difficult. I think for other tokens, I think we did that, as evidenced by community members stepping up and buying dev tokens to get us that last month of Tech Alchemy to get the alpha in. Us as a community listing on BITMART, that was paid for by donations from the community, and it's I think you don't see that everywhere. So it's also community members. There's been times people have been in trouble personally, and the community members have cared enough about others to try to lend a hand in any way possible. So it's really about it keeps going back to the same word, but it's the people and the community is what makes it special to me. So.
Amen. Alrighty, well, I think that is pretty much everything that we wanted to touch on today. So thank you all for attending, and thank you to the people who've recorded this and streamed it elsewhere as well. It's all going to do wonders for the reach and growth that we have. We will be sharing the link to that giveaway for the mailing list and the 5 Valley Stalk NFTs. So keep an eye out for that. We'll make sure to post that on all the social media channels and post it in the Discord. So thank you all so much for your questions. Really, really appreciate you guys taking the time, and looking forward to doing more of these in the future.
Yeah, thank everyone for joining up, and this has been great. I was a little nervous when thinking about the AMA, but this one fantastic, and thank you everybody for asking questions. It's been great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming, guys. Those Q&As and those suggestions are definitely being looked at. I believe you could see we're answering them as they're coming in, but keep them up. The more you ask, the more we grow.
There's no problems, only puzzles. Just things to solve.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's going to turn into a Queenie motto right there.
right?
Alrighty, well, thank you all very much. I I have half an hour to get ready for work now, so I'll,
All right.
I'll
Thank you.
catch you guys. Thank you all so
Thanks
much.
again, Queenie.
See you guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Queenie.
you.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.